Hey, it's me, Hannah. We have an unprecedented storm coming this weekend. Yet rather than stocking up on groceries or even checking to see if we own a snow shovel, I think we do. We must. The only thing I seem to be motivated to do is to say, to hell with ice. Now, I love snow, but ice is just something I cannot stand for. It terrorizes our community, it causes utter mayhem, it's dangerous, and it's cold. But a local grassroots community art space, Studio 23, is also looking to support the eradication of ice from our community. And they recently released this design as a fundraiser for the Richmond Legal Fund. They're selling prints and t-shirts and these banners, which are very Renaissance Fair coded. The proceeds of which are all going to this nonprofit legal collaborative created to connect community members with legal resources. I'm happy to say that at the time of recording, they've already reached their goal of over $5,000 in donations. But if you like this design and you want to go check it out and also be a supportive member of the Richmond community or from somewhere else, feel free to go check it out. Or let me encourage you to try to find some similar organizations within your own community if you're not a Richmond local. Now, this is already an amazing cause, but I am here today, selfishly, because while they were announcing this fundraiser, they also posted this concept for their print. And with the inaugural Richmond Renaissance Fair coming up, I need to recreate this. So today, I am going to make a tabard, and we're going to take it to Studio 23 and have them screen print it for me. And whatever earnings I can make off of this video as a YouTuber are also going to go to the Richmond Legal Fund. So I'll go ahead and ask earlier than usual for likes and comments and even shares so that we can build up a good amount to donate. Thank you in advance. Now, let's figure out how to make a tabard. I luckily had this partially pre-shirred fabric left in my stash, plenty of which was not shirred, which was the perfect light oatmeal color for screen printing and for matching the original inspiration photo. I also had the perfect amount for the tabard, plus some. Possibly enough left over to create a cape of some sort, which was part of the original concept, but that I won't be finishing in time for the community board meeting. Okay, so the snow is here, making today a perfect day to do some crafts and get creative as a form of resistance. But escapism is not our only tool. Later this week, there is a community meeting that I plan to attend with some friends to make our voices heard on the plans for the creation of a detainment center right here in our community. But before that, Studio 23 actually went ahead and scheduled their printing day where they invite people to come with a blank canvas, a t-shirt or a tabard in my case, and we can get the prints added to our pieces and have something to wear to these community meetings. So now that's the plan, and I would love to style this up and maybe even do a little photo shoot in the snow. Also, if you're wondering why I am ripping the fabric, it is to help me achieve straighter lines than what I can achieve just cutting. For the body of the tabard, I need 8 different rectangles, all the same size. And I think with that last rip, I have all the pieces I need to get sewing. I am going to have a lining to this piece using the same fabric. So I will start by sewing 4 rectangles together, and that will be our lining. And then I will do the same for the fashion layer. And then we can figure out a neck hole. Okay, so I have the fabric rectangles sewn up into 4 quadrants, and not to brag, but check out how clean those corners line up. Doesn't matter because we are about to cut a hole right in the middle here where my head is going to go. So I am going to take this and fold it in half lengthwise. I may even take this over to my machine and press it just to make sure I have this nice and even. And then I'm going to do the same with the lining fabric. Again, making sure that the right sides are facing each other. And yeah, I'll go ahead and press this, at least kind of in this central part so that it lays flat before we go ahead and cut out the neck hole. I used a t-shirt with a perfectly good neck hole to guide my cutting here. I intend to wear a cowl or a gorget, so I wasn't that pressed about the shape of the neck. I just needed to get my head through it. Then, with the right sides together, I sewed the lining to the fashion fabric, and I decided to add ties to the sides of the tabard, which I know isn't necessarily historically accurate, but historical accuracy is something rarely seen on this channel. I then used the burrito method to sew the sides, being sure to add the ties in before sewing. Okay, wait, like why did I make a cute little borderline trendy, just kind of tunic thing? I could absolutely just see myself wearing this around the house like a little pinafore. Do I need 12 more? Probably. I haven't finished the bottom seam yet. I still need to finish that, but I realized that I forgot I wanted to add a like a slit to the front to more accurately follow the inspiration photo. So I'm going to wrap up for tonight, but then we'll tackle the bottom edge tomorrow. And then I think that's pretty much it. We'll be ready to take it over to Studio 23 to have it printed. And then, I don't know, maybe do a little protesting. Adding that slit to the front and back actually made finishing the bottom edge easier on my brain, especially since I needed to seam rip the bottom few inches of the already pressed center seams. I was able to flip the two sides so that their right sides were facing each other, sew the panels together, clip the corners, and then flip them right side out, all before top stitching the lining to the outside fabric along that center opening, which, like I said, was already pressed, so it made it really easy to get a clean enough top stitch. Let me also go ahead and shout out my beloved patrons, with special thanks to Danielle, my #1 maker and shaker over on Patreon. They got to see the finished project last week, so check it out if you're interested in behind the scenes and previews too. Okay, she's all done and ready to be printed on. I'm actually about to head out into the snow, the somehow still unplowed streets, to try and get down to Studio 2-3, where I will be getting at least one. There's actually 2 prints that are available for the fundraiser, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to choose. Luckily, we can absolutely make this reversible, so we'll see. So let's head downtown. I ended up being a little confused about how the community print day was going to work, since this was my first time attending such an event. And while I expected to donate in order to receive a print or 2 on my tabard, it was actually free. But don't worry, I did donate directly to the Richmond Legal Fund when I got home. But before that, I was able to absolutely bask in the community and creativity that such an event produced. And I'm honored to have been able to participate, and just so glad that they let me tote my camera around to capture it. So please enjoy while I cry a little bit to myself as I watch it back. Now, I do want to acknowledge that this project is, at least in part, pretty self-indulgent. I'm not someone who grew up in activism, and I know that there's still so much learning and work yet to do. And I acknowledge that since you're just hearing my voice in this video, you're not hearing the voices or perspectives of immigrants or people of color who are the ones being targeted. But I do have a voice, and I want to use it to push for the eradication of these systems that are harming people. I have been using my voice by actively calling my representatives, and by both sharing opportunities to support and also sharing others' perspectives on Instagram. As for my perspective, I want to simultaneously hold space for those who are, like me, relatively newer to activism, or even to just taking action, taking responsibility, while also acknowledging that there are those who, rightfully so, are super frustrated with the fact that some of us weren't moved to action by the tens of thousands of lives lost in Palestine, in Ukraine, and even here in the United States at the hands of law enforcement. But the most important acknowledgement I have to make here is that this is a silly little project that does nothing but raise a few dollars from YouTube ads, unless you happen to take some action too. So if you're at all moved by what you've seen on the news or social media, it would mean the world to me if you would call your representatives and donate to community legal funds or request for mutual aid. I'll see you in 2 weeks for my next video. Until then, take care and fuck ICE.